So John, cold calling. A lot of salespeople cold call, especially when they're first starting out. What's your take on cold calling?
Well, I think cold calling, the traditional way of cold calling, is rough, ugly, basically sucks. It really does. Because I think the typical thing is people get a very cold list. They don't know who these people are, don't know backgrounds, there's no information about it, except maybe they're an industry type. And then they fire up the phone, they manually dial. It's not very refined. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of tracking involved. These people typically, not always, but almost always, don't, any industry I've ever been in, they rarely make very much money, or not enough money to do it for long term, and it certainly is not a lot of fun.
So if cold calling sucks, then how are they supposed to start?
That's a really good question, and it's a question a lot of new salespeople have. Let me give you a couple different answers. One, if we're under the heading of cold calling, if that's really what you insist on doing, then let's do a little bit of hybrid, because there's a way that you can do it and hammer out some things that make sense and lead to more of an objective, just hammering out 100 or however many people in a day and having a couple people that are interested, because that's hard. That's hard on a person. So, but what you can do, let's say if I'm going to cold call, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a list of, I'm going to make it interesting first of all, something that I have an interest in. For example, I like to scuba dive. So let's say if I want to call scuba diving shops or scuba divers or whatever, and because in sales one of the huge things is rapport and relationships, you got to have some common ground. So build it in up front. So call something that you're interested in. Also, some people, I have never found this to work for me, but maybe I missed the technology curve here. I've heard of some people doing it today, and it's a conversation for another time. But there's software out there. For example, if you have 4 phone lines or 2 phone lines at home and you're working from home, or let's say you can get software to run on your PC that will just hammer out calls, and just like those call centers all over the planet, when somebody picks up, it'll connect you. You can do things like that, but I think it's really important to have more than just a sale in mind, because one of the things that most every salesperson misses, and what's critical in the longevity and amount of success over time, and even equating to money and dollars and building something that a machine or a resource or something that brings you more business, is generating a list. A list of people that they're cool with you contacting them with more stuff about whatever the topic is or something related. For example, if I'm cold calling people, what I'm going to do is I'm either going to, I don't like a cold sales call to sell something like, "Hi, Nikki, this is John. Would you like to buy the such and such?" I don't like that. But if I'm calling going, "Hey, this is what I do. Do you have a general interest? If you do, let me shoot you out some information. If you're interested, give me a jingle. If I don't hear from you, I'll follow up." Fair enough? And that way it's very low pressure. So instead of calling 100 people and 98 telling you to beep, 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 and 2 going, okay. It's almost not quite the other way around, though I have done cold calls to a particular industry where I've had 97% of everybody who is receptive to what I'm talking about, because it's all about building a list of people who will send me business later. So I'd either have something that I'm interested in, or that I'm interested in, that we have common ground, that I'd make it, if it's a cold call, I'm going to make it a very low, soft kind of thing. It's not, I'm not calling you to sell you something, I'm calling you to go, "Hey, can I ship you this out? If it makes sense, give me a jingle." The second thing I'm going to make sure that I do is build a list. Like in email marketing, for example, the huge thing is building a list. A list of people who are interested in what you have to offer. Not necessarily that you send them to your site and buy something, that's it. That's really short term. But if you get them to you and you're talking about things that are cool and interesting, and get them on your list, and then repeat, kind of get them out their information, and they'll buy maybe once, twice, maybe they'll buy a dozen times. So building a list, which is huge, and with that list too, of course, you've got to work the list, you've got to massage it and that kind of thing. So I'd either call something I'm interested in, and then I would call for an appointment or to send information and follow up later. That's the kind of thing I do, especially building the machine. You want to build as much as a customer, and this is the part that everybody doesn't get, but the few, the proud, the ones that make all the money, get this piece of it, which is building a list and in a little machine that contacts those people, because they will end up sending you more business too. Referrals, who get referrals, who give you referrals, who give you referrals. And all of a sudden, then it turns into something that your referral network is really sending you all your business, and you're just schmoozing with your referral network. So if you're going to cold call with an intent other than just a call and a sale. It makes all the difference in the world.